Every nation devotes a lot of attention to the education sector.
Education.
And given that the world is changing quickly and technology is constantly evolving, developed nations are known to have high literacy rates. In fact, a number of countries around the world have a literacy rate that is close to 100%, including Finland, Norway, Luxemburg, Andorra, Poland, and Cuba, to name a few. Moreover, Russia has a 99.7% literacy rate and a high rate of development and a low rate of poverty, while Canada, the UK, Germany, and France have a 99.0% literacy rate. And all of these countries are among the 50 richest countries in the world. But if we talk about the literacy rate on another side of the world, take Sri Lanka as an example, in 2017, the country's literacy rate was 91.9%. And in reality, Sri Lanka's poverty line is now the oldest in the South Asia region. Similarly, Tajikistan's official literacy rate is 98%. However, it is the poorest nation in Central Asia, with the national poverty rate of over 26% and an extreme poverty rate of around 11%. Confused? I know what you're thinking. The claim that education is the key to overcoming extreme poverty gets made all the time. Then how it's not the only solution for reducing poverty? Can't high literacy rates fight poverty? Well, let's try to explain it in this video. Education is a fundamental human right for everyone, and when it is customized to the particular needs of marginalized populations, it can be utilized as a weapon against some of the structural obstacles that put some groups of people further behind than others. So, when considering ways to end poverty, education is among the first ideas that come to our minds. Receiving an education is one of the best methods to achieve financial security, and the lack of access to education is a significant predictor of poverty passing down from one generation to the next. So, if every child has a chance to learn and provide them with the means to support themselves sounds like a secure solution, making education and poverty two related issues. According to UNESCO, an estimated 171 million people could escape severe poverty if all children in low-income nations had only the most fundamental reading abilities. The percentage of adults who did not complete their secondary education might reduce global poverty by more than half. For this reason, the UN made achieving a high standard of education one of its Sustainable Development Goals for the year 2030. Income is, of course, a huge factor in poverty. According to the Global Partnership for Education, an educated person's income rises by 10% for every year of study. A person's earnings rise by at least $2.50 in low to middle income countries, and by as much as $5 in lower income nations for every dollar spent on an extra year of school. And research shows that having a basic education, that is, the ability to read, write, and do the math, can not only boost a person's income, but also increase the rate of return on the economy. For example, financial stability through education may motivate people to explore ever-new business ventures in an effort to increase their salaries, which will in turn promote the growth of the national economy. And the benefits of education are not just limited to the poverty or economy of the country. A number of social benefits are associated with it as well. For instance, education has been linked to improving the standard of health around the world. Children and families that have better access to information are also more aware of the value of good hygiene and clean water, which lowers the incidence of waterborne illness and medical expenses. People with higher levels of education are more likely to vote and to be more informed about current political concerns. Higher education holders are 3.5 times more likely to donate money and 2 times more likely to volunteer than high school grads. Going forward, education is the key to giving poor farmers the tools they need to increase their yields, maximize profits, and limit waste, all in order to keep prices affordable for community members, according to the Food and Agriculture Organization (FAO). According to Canadian Feed the Children (CFTC), education and food security are intertwined. By doubling primary school attendance among impoverished rural children, food insecurity can be slashed by up to 25%. So, these are all the facts. More education means a better lifestyle, more nutritious food, better access to sanitation, better access to healthcare, and better housing. However, there is another side to this story as well. While it is true that education can sometimes help people earn a better life, and it may sound like a surefire way to fix this enduring problem, but it is not the only key to ending poverty. because the reality is far more complex. So, what is it? Well, it is true that education can play a significant role in reducing poverty by providing individuals with the skills and knowledge needed to secure better-paying jobs and increase their earning potential. However, it is not the only solution, and there are many other factors that can influence poverty. So let's talk about them. 1. Inequality and marginalization. Whether it's racial injustice, gender discrimination, inequality in income distribution, or any type of social injustice, poverty always comes after. Victims of social injustice struggle to access resources that can help them escape poverty, acquire a good education, and find suitable employment possibilities. It can limit people's ability to improve their economic situation and increase their standard of living. Gender inequality, caste systems, and marginalization based on race or tribal affiliations are all economic. Hence, access to better opportunities and resources are needed to live a full, productive life. As for majority of individuals, poverty is more about being unable to make a decent livelihood due to either a lack of opportunities or a lack of employable skills. 2. Economic instability and lack of government support. Economic instability can have a number of negative effects on the overall welfare of people and nations by creating an environment in which economic assets lose value and investment is hindered or stopped. This can lead to unemployment, economic recession, a significant decrease in the GDP of a country, or, in extreme cases, a societal collapse. Talking about the government support, many people living in the United States are familiar with social welfare programs that people can access if they need health care or food assistance. But not every government can provide this type of help to its citizens. And without that safety net, there's nothing to stop vulnerable families from backsliding further into extreme poverty. 3. Political conflicts and warfare. Conflicts can lead to poverty in many different ways. Productivity suffers as well as a country's GDP. The kind of widespread, persistent violence we see in countries like Syria may paralyze society, devastate infrastructure, and drive people from their homes, compelling families to sell off or abandon all of their possessions. In Syria, where extreme poverty was once quite uncommon, almost 70% of the whole population today lives below the poverty line. But even small bouts of violence can have huge impacts on communities. Whenever there is political unrest, businesses may shut down, and investment may decrease, and people may flee the area. This can lead to a decrease in economic activity, job opportunities, and income, which can ultimately result in poverty. 4. Climate change. The last one on the list is climate change, and it may sound absurd to some of you who do not consider it to be a reality or a crisis. But most of you are aware that climate change contributes to drought, flooding, and extreme storms, which can damage wealthy nations while pulling poor ones down even further. And recovering is extremely difficult as well, especially for agricultural communities where they barely have enough to feed themselves, let alone prepare for the next harvest year. You might be surprised to learn that according to the World Bank, over 100 million people could become poor by 2030 as a result of climate change. So, the cycle of poverty in a country is influenced by all of these factors collectively. Let me give you a few examples to prove my point. Take the example of Sri Lanka, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Sri Lanka has a literacy rate of over 90%, but a significant portion of its population lives in poverty. That is because, despite its high literacy rate, the country's economy is relatively small, and unemployment and underemployment are high. Similarly, Tajikistan has a literacy rate of over 99%, but a significant portion of its population lives in poverty. The reason is that the country has a weak economy, and many citizens are dependent on agriculture and remittances from abroad. Additionally, political unrest in Sri Lanka and Tajikistan in the past has hampered both nations' economic development and foreign investments as well. While on the other hand, we have Japan. Japan has a literacy rate of almost 100% and a relatively low poverty rate. The country has a strong economy, and citizens have access to well-paying jobs, good health care, and other social services. The government policies aim to reduce poverty by creating more and more job opportunities as well as providing social services to the citizens. Hence, education is not a complete answer to ending poverty. In fact, it should be considered as one element of a comprehensive approach to addressing poverty. Other factors such as access to healthcare, financial services, and social safety nets also play a crucial role in reducing poverty. Additionally, addressing systemic issues such as income inequality, discrimination, and lack of economic opportunities is also important in addressing poverty. And while it may be good for the government to provide better education and vocational training for the poor, they need to analyze the problem further and find other ways to end poverty. So, did we miss something? Share your views in the comments section below. We'll be happy to hear from you. And if you found this video informative and enjoyed the content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button as well, as we frequently upload similar content. Thanks for watching.